Welcome to the studio, it's Froyle here. I'm so glad you've joined me. Today we're going to be jelly printing with acrylic inks, some fluid paint, a few spray inks as well. It's going to be a lot of fun and I'm going to be showing you my brand new foam stamps. Can't wait for you to see them. They make absolutely fabulous background papers. So I hope you're going to stick around. Now, I had so much fun the other day creating with acrylic inks on the gel plate that I'm thinking today I just want to start splashing some paint on the gel plate, having a little play and seeing where we head. I'm going to create some background papers, then I'm going to show you some new stamps and we're going to have a whole lot of fun. Now I'm using this Japanese rice paper. I also have some wet strength tissue, which yes, I got recently and absolutely love. Have a look at these beautiful colors. Oh man, that's already glorious. I'm going to take a few backgrounds, going to do some prints, going to put some stamps on. Oh man, you just gotta love it. Look at that, so much fun. Acrylic inks on the gel plate. I know, it's my new favorite thing this week anyway. I'm using red oxide. These are the Liquitex acrylic inks. I think they are just absolutely beautiful. And I have some transparent burnt sienna. So the different opacities of the inks, the transparent and the opaque, will create different responses and make different marks. And I have some beautiful iridescent copper. Just going to create a few sheets of background so we can then move on and have a little play with some new stamps. Look at those rich colors. That is just beautiful. I think it prints really well on the gel plate considering how watery the whole application is. Oh, and I just love the way it all gets soaked up in the beautiful rice paper. Look at those glorious textures. I just love it. Right, so this time I'm going to throw a little bit of Titan Buff on the plate. It's a golden fluid paint, just to add a bit more thickness and texture. Oopsies, I just spilled my inks. Whoopsies. That little bit of the fluid paint on the plate just creates a little bit thicker paint volume, and let's see what kind of beautiful marks that'll create. Oh man, loving the color. Let's use some of the wet strength tissue for this one and soak up all that glorious paint. Oh, yay. Look at that. Straight on with a second piece to pick up what's left on the plate. 2-for-1 deal. That's what we love about jelly printing. It's so fast and so quick and so easy. Right, so that ghost print picked up most of the rest of the ink and it's looking beautiful. I love the mix of the acrylic paint and the ink. It creates such interesting textures. What about if we added a little bit of spray ink? Oops, a little bit of overspraying. Let's have a look and see what that does. That will create a little bit of a different mark and different texture on the plate. Adding a little bit of coffee, of the eyes inks. You never quite know what you're going to get. Oh man, that is beautiful. Look at that. Yay. So I'm just going to pull this ghost print or what's left on the plate straight away. Get all the rest of this paint up. That was a good combination. That was the Titan Buff in the fluid paint, a little bit of the transparent burnt sienna, and then a few spritzes of the ice inks in the coffee. That one looks really good. I think that one's my favorite so far. You just have to keep trying your ideas, keep experimenting and seeing what actually works. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't matter. You just go over it again. We can do second layers over those prints, and that always makes them look more interesting anyway. Yay, pulling all the ghost print up, gets a lot of that paint off, and look how nice that is. So this is one of the beautiful handmade papers from Thailand. It's called Handmade Roses in Australia. I get it from camipaper.com. Or you can get it from the Kozo Studio website, which is from Thailand. If you're in the US, Mulberry Papers and More also stock this. And there is a link on Amazon, which will be in the description under the video, any of this information, if you want to find it. Now, I just love it. I have used this paper so many times in my collages, I couldn't even possibly count. Because you tear it like this, it separates the beautiful circle shape. You can use the white, you can spray the white, you can paint it. It comes in black, comes in red, comes in green, blue. Oh, so many colors. It's just, can you tell it's one of my favorite papers? Anyway, I have been inspired by it a few times to create some different textures for my collage. So I've used the string gel and the tar gel to make these beautiful circles, which worked really well, and they look stunning and they look fabulous in my collage, of course. I also used light molding paste, pushed it through a piping bag and created the circle shape. Yes, inspired by these beautiful papers. That looked really cool too, and I made some beautiful collages with those fabulous homemade handmade papers. Then when I was designing my new stamps and stencils in my brushstroke series, I thought I may as well have a little play with creating something in a stamp. So PM Artist Studio has made these beautiful stamps inspired by my fabulous handmade roses. There's the bigger one, there's a smaller one, and there's a fabulous cluster. So I'm going to show you these because they're glorious, and we're going to have a little play. I like to use the gel plate like a big stamp pad. Roll the paint off, put your glorious stamp on it, and then put it onto paper. It's just so easy. So fast. And it makes absolutely fabulous collage paper. I could spray that with one of the ice inks if I want a coloured textured background, or I could just leave it like that. I can also pull the print from the plate here with the negative marks that were made from using the stamp. I mean, it's just a win-win. Bonuses all round, 2 for the price of 1. You get the direct positive shape on the paper and then the negative shape on the plate to pull the print. You can wait, of course, until the paint's dry and pull it with a second colour, but you know how that's going to go. I'm not that patient, and I'm going to let it all build up on the plate and then I'll pull it. So that is just pulling the beautiful paint straight off the plate after we've stamped out the shape. This is the smaller of the two of the stamps. It is just as beautiful. Look at that. Easy peasy. I just love it. You can overlap them. You can create an incredible background by simply stamping on your gel plate. Oh man. Look at that, I covered the whole paper. Doesn't it look great? Right, shall we pull this print? I think so. Why don't we put a little, yes, let's put a little spritzer on it. Little bit of gold mine, little bit of bling. What about a bit of bronze shimmer? That'll do. Righto. Let's see how that looks. Yes, it's wet strength tissue because normal tissue wouldn't cope with this much paint. Oh, that's going to be a beautiful print, and it's going to make a fabulous ghost print. What a beautiful ghost print that is. Look at that. For a simple 2-second stamping with one little stamp, and look at the great textured background we have. So you might notice I haven't cleaned anything off. I've just kept adding paint to the plate because it creates a beautiful build-up of color and texture, and it's going to make amazing ghost prints. Oh, so now we're using the cluster. Check this out. So why use one when you can use 3, right? It's even faster. Oh man, speed printing. I like the cluster because it does one of the big shapes and 2 of the small ones in just one hit. I think it works really well for backgrounds, but you could also use it for featured elements. That would work really well too. Why don't we add a little bit of coffee this time? I like just changing the tone of the paint by putting a little bit of a spray on there and a little bit of the bronze shimmer. You can see the spray on top of the paint there. That is just so much fun. And it is wet strength tissue, but you really don't want to leave it on too long soaking up all that paint because it will tear if it is completely drowned. Yes, I have tested the strength of wet strength tissue. Look at that. That's just beautiful. I'll have to show you when they dry. Let's pull that ghost print. What I like about having a little spray like that with the ink on top of the paint is that it's getting picked up in the ridges from the stamping and it's creating those marks. This one you could leave on a little bit longer because it's the ghost print, so there's not as much paint. There's still a lot of paint. I know, I'm very lavish with my application, and that's just how I am. That's going to pick up a lot more. But you can see the beautiful stamp shape from where the spray inks has touched the surface of the marks that it's made in the layer of paint. And that's just really fun. It's all a little sticky, but it's really fun. See how cool those shapes are? Yay. We interrupt this program for a special announcement. Today begins the early bird registration for the fabulous Wanderlust Mixed Media Art Class. This year-long art class has 32 teachers, 49 lessons, and it's an absolutely fabulous way to develop your creativity. I've been invited to join the team for next year, 2024, and I'm really excited. Led by the fearless Keisha Avery, she has the same passion and heart for developing your creativity, and I'm really excited to be a part of this fabulous team. What I like about Wanderlust is the diversity of teachers, the different styles, the application of mixed media art, and they have the same passion and mission to really help you develop your creativity. It's not just about the art, it's about the personal development, and I absolutely love it. So have a look in the link under the video. You'll find the early bird registration price only lasts for a limited time. So make sure you check that out if you're thinking about it. It doesn't start until the 5th of January, but now is the time that you really want to secure your spot. So have a look at that. And come and join me next year on Wanderlust. Of course, I had to pull out the iridescent bronze fine, one of my favorite colors. There's still the ghost print on the plate, but we can't let that worry us. Now we're going with some brown black right over the top. It's week 12 of 100 days of collage. I'm absolutely loving this adventure. And our theme this week is shapes. So it's an absolutely perfect time to showcase these glorious stamps and have a look at these fabulous shapes. Yay! So we're going to stamp some onto the iridescent bronze fine. Look at that, just beautiful. Also, we're picking it up off the plate, and underneath is also the bronze, so that's going to make a really cool print. I think I'll use both the big one and the small one. I'm not really stressing too much where I put them because I'm going to use them for collage anyway and probably tear up the papers. Man, they're looking good. This is working well. I'm loving it. Two hands. Look, Mum, 2 hands. I know. I get a little silly when I'm printing. What can I say? Look at that. That looks so cool. Both these papers are going to look great. Handmade Roses. Look at that. Love it. Righto. So let's pull this print and see if we get some of that beautiful bronze up from underneath. This brown black colour does remind me of Vegemite. Seriously, that's what colour it is. I don't actually like Vegemite, but this is the colour of it. And I was raised in Australia all my life, so you know, there was always someone eating Vegemite. Righto, let's see what happened. Did it pick up my bronze, or was it too thick or wet or dry, or who knows? But look at that, that's cool. Now I've got beautiful handmade roses in bronze on the plate. And there's my print. Yay! So we've got the positive one and the negative shape, and those two would look really well collaged together. So we've got some bronze on the plate, some brown black on the plate. It's all just building up, but because the colors are lovely earthy tones, they're going to work well together. A little bit of metallic bling. What's not to love? I know I love my metallic colors. So I'm going to put some stamps onto some of the earlier papers that we printed, some of those background prints. And we're just going to let the plate build up with all of these layers of colors, and then we're going to pull an amazing print at the end. Now I've put copper on this. It's not overly dark on the background, but I just really like that slight texture. I like the way it's creating those marks. It just makes absolutely fabulous background paper, collage paper. I just love it. And did I mention it's really easy? I'm liking this cluster. If you overlay them, the shapes, they look really good, especially when the color is subtle like this one. So have a look at that. That's just got a little bit of the printing over the background color that we pulled before, and that's just going to make fabulous collage paper. So let's pull this print and see what actually comes up. Maybe we'll use a bit of glassine. I don't really know if it's going to be wet enough to pull up that bottom layer, but each time we add the color, it just creates more and more beautiful texture. Let's give it a try with a piece of glassine. Now glassine is stronger than the wet strength tissue, so it should actually pull up more of that paint. That's the theory anyway. Let's see how that goes. Oh yeah, good theory. I think it's pulling up some of the paint right to the bottom layer of the iridescent bronze fine. Have a look at that print. Oh, just love it. It's got all those layers and textures from the stamping and the build-up of the paint. Look how cool that texture looks. Yes, I'm loving that. Right, well, we still have a fair amount of the bronze right at the bottom of the plate, so that should keep coming up as we add more paint on and build up the layers. Oops, that was a bit too much of the copper. I'm using a mix of the copper and the brown black. I thought that could be really cool because this particular background piece that we pulled earlier needs something a little darker than the copper because there's quite a strong color tone already on the paper. So I mixed a little brown black in with the copper. Oh, that's just beautiful. Righto, on with the stamps. Yes! I do like the variety of the sizes. I think that's really good because depending on what you want to add it to. Yes, I'm very happy with my new stamps. Thank you, Mariah and Patricia, because they are fabulous and fun. It's got to be fun or I don't want to play. There we go. Covered that background. Have a look at that. That's just a bit of fun. Now I've got so many different varieties of these papers with the backgrounds and the stamps on them. Have a look at these. They just go on and on and on. I could just sit here all day stamping and printing. It's really not a problem. They turned out really well. They're in similar color tones, a little splash of acrylic ink, some spray inks, some fluid paint, some full body paint. It's all in the mix, and it all makes for really beautiful background textures for my collage. So what do you think? Which ones of these do you like the best? What I really like about doing this particular technique is the amazing ghost prints that you can make. Once the paint builds up and the texture's there and you've created layer after layer, then the last print or the ghost print that you take, that's a cleanup. Oh my gosh, it looks absolutely amazing. Thanks for joining me today. I really hope you enjoyed this episode. Don't forget, you'll find more information in the description under the video, where to find the phone stamps, and don't forget the discount code. You'll also find more info about the Wanderlust Mixed Media Art class. You really want to join up today because you get the fabulous early bird price. So that information is there as well. And I'll leave you the 100 Days of Collage playlist just in case you missed any of the episodes. See you next time in the studio.